Okay, marijuana. You guys can watch this video on your own time. Okay, marijuana. It's a mild hallucinogen derived from the leaves and flowers of a particular type of hemp plant, and it's usually rolled in a cigarette, or it can be smoked through a water pipe or brewed as tea and mixed with food. It's commonly referred to as pot, weed, or grass. Classification. Marijuana has a broad spectrum of behavior aspects or behaviors. Um, Therefore, there's no clear classification. It's um, it can be seen as a stimulant, depressant, sedative, tranquilizer, or hallucinogen. A hallucinogen alters interpretation of senses without actual sensory output. Stimulant is a substance that raises levels of psychological or nervous activity in the body, and it's also a depressant because it reduces functional or nervous activities, and it's also a gateway drug because it leads to more important drug usage. Behavioral effects. Short-term effects include euphoria, which is an intense sensation of happiness, relaxed inhibition, altered time and space perception, and high or enhanced senses. Stronger doses intensify effects. Long-term effects, on the other hand, may lead to depression, psychological dependence, increased risk for schizophrenia, and paranoia. But these are scientists' best guesses since marijuana is illegal, so it's hard to confirm these hypotheses. Psychological effects or physiological effects. Short-term effects on the body include increased heart rate, dry mouth, reddening of eyes, and distortion in time and vision. Long-term effects on the body include reduced memory and learning capacity, um, depression of immune system, increased risk of heart damage, and cancer. While marijuana does not create any physical dependence, heavy usage creates physiological dependence.
There's also a potential for abuse when using marijuana. Cannabis is number three of the top five substances that accounts for admissions to drug treatment facilities in the United States at 16%. And according to a national household survey on drug abuse, kids who frequently use marijuana are almost 4 times more likely to act violently or damage property. And they are also 5 times more likely to steal than those who do not use the drug. Although a tolerance may possibly build up, marijuana can lead users to consume stronger drugs to achieve the same high. And when these effects start to wear off, the person may turn to more potent drugs to rid himself of the unwanted conditions that prompted him to take marijuana in the first place, because the drugs mask the problems for a time when the user is high. However, when the high fades, the problem returns more intensely than before. Therefore, the user may use stronger drugs to try and get rid of this. There are some pros of legalization. Legalizing and regulating marijuana could bring in the nation's largest cash crop under the rule of law and create jobs and economic opportunities in the formal economy instead of like an illicit market. And scarce law enforcement resources that could be better used to protect public safety would be preserved while reducing corrections and court costs. Also, state and local governments can acquire significant new sources of tax revenue by regulating marijuana sales. There are also a few health benefits of smoking marijuana. Researchers at the American Academy of Neurology found that the medical marijuana in the form of pills or oral sprays appeared effective in reducing stiffness and muscle spasm in MS. And the medications also use certain symptoms of MS, such as pain related to spasms and painful burning and numbness, as well as the overactive bladder, according to a study published in the Journal of Neurology. Another common use for medical marijuana is to ease the symptoms of nausea from chemotherapy for cancer patients. And two FDA-approved cannabis-based drugs, Dronabol and Nailbone, have been shown to reduce chemotherapy-related nausea and vomiting in cancer patients. Medical marijuana can also treat glaucoma, which is an elevated pressure in the eyeball that can lead to blindness. And how Colorado has been affected by legalization. In March, tax and legal recreational marijuana sales generated nearly 19 million, up from 14 million in February. The state has earned there were more than 10 million in taxes from retail sales in the first 4 months of legalization, and this money can go to public schools and infrastructure as well as educational programs. And also, marijuana arrests, which make up half of all drug-related crimes, have plummeted in Colorado, and which frees up law enforcement to focus on other criminal activity. And by removing these penalties, the state saved somewhere between 12 million and 40 million in 2012, according to the Colorado Center on Law and Policy. Also, Denver City and countrywide murder rate has dropped 52.9% since recreational marijuana use was legalized.
Some cons of legalizing marijuana is that marijuana smoke can affect lung health due to the higher levels of carcinogens, um, and usually it is inhaled more deeply by pot smokers, causing the smoke to be in the lungs for a larger amount of time. It can also affect brain health because long-term marijuana users have a decreased ability to retrieve memories. Um, One study suggests that brain vessels of marijuana smokers restrict blood flow and will continue to do so even after a month of abstinence. It also affects heart health because marijuana raises the heart rate from 20% to 100% for up to 3 hours after it's been smoked. This can increase the risk of several problems, including heart palpitations, arrhythmias, and heart attack. Here's a picture with the effects of cannabis. There are also psychological health risks to using marijuana, such as addiction, because long-term marijuana use can lead to dependence over time. Any revenue that would be made by legalizing marijuana would be offset by the cost of treating the additional users who become addicted to it. Marijuana also causes altered perception, so that marijuana users experience a high that alters the way they perceive things. This can cause car accidents, which causes injuries and will cost the state money. There's also the gateway drug theory that marijuana can introduce the user to more serious illegal substances like cocaine or heroin, um, as well as prescription drugs. A recent Yale University School of Medicine study revealed that teenage boys who abuse alcohol, cigarettes, and marijuana were 2 to 3 times more likely to abuse prescription drugs. Um, it also was associated with increased prescription drug abuse in teenage girls. Legalization could increase costs for treating those who are introduced to heavier drugs by smoking marijuana. There are also more consequences to legalizing marijuana because it will send the message to all people that drug use is acceptable. Marijuana is psychologically addictive, as discussed before, and it robs the user of free will. A state involved with the distribution of marijuana, which is an unhealthy substance, is wrong because the goal of the state is to protect citizens' health, not to encourage health problems. And we're done. So, oh.